there's a lot of people that seeing all the back and forth with, Black Americans and the diaspora. And the unfortunate part, I wish a lot of this stuff was happening at, maybe events, maybe say everybody can get together and just hash out the problems. I think that would be so much better instead of posting it online, because you post it online for the world to see. And when you're posting things online for the world to see, everybody's going to get involved with it because we are the loudest people in the room a lot of times, right? So because we're the loudest people in the room a lot of times, people think they can talk on it and know what they're talking about. Now, most of us as Black Americans have a particular code we live by when we're in relation to Black people, which says, look, what we do with other Black people is our problem. But when other groups get involved, stay in your place. Case in point, I want you to look at what this woman, this so-called Native American woman, had to say. It's saying up here, Black Americans will have zero allies soon. When do we ever have an ally at all? Okay? When do we have an ally? I have not seen nobody come to our rescue. Well, show me your allyship, ma'am, and whoever else is out there. I want to see your allyship, because I don't remember any of you sitting up here and coming to our rescue. Have y'all seen them come to our rescue? Let's continue. Fighting with Africans. Whatever Black Americans are doing to Africans is not your business. Stay in your place. You don't know the nuances of that. You don't understand what it's about. You don't understand the history of anything. So just stay out of our issues and our problems. See, I'm a firm believer of telling people stay in their place. I'm that guy. Disrespecting and erasing the identity of tribal American Indians and the new anti-immigrant sentiment. Now, what she's saying is that some Black people are saying that they have lineage to Native Americans, right? But there are plenty of Black Americans who were Native Americans. And if you want to talk about slavery and go there too, some of you Native American tribes owe as well. You owe. We'll get into the tribes a little later that Black people is a part of in American history. Now, you're talking about this new anti-immigrant sentiment. Well, a lot of that is not really about immigration. It's about disrespect. You say all the while still being under the boot of white people, and so are your people. They're under the boot of white people as well, which is hard enough to deal with. It's quite funny that you really want to talk about the boot of white people. You say this is your land, and you let white people come in and literally put you on a reservation. This is what your people allowed. Okay? So don't you think you need the boot of white people just a little bit more? Now, I will give you this. You do get some reparations. I'll give you that. And we're fighting to get our reparations. But even with the reparations that you get, you're still not in a good position. See, the reason why they don't want us to have reparations, because they know good and well reparations is going to free us completely. And they don't want that. See, we're different, ma'am. We're different. They fear us getting certain amounts of money. They don't fear giving you a casino. They don't fear giving you land. They don't fear giving you money every year. They don't fear that because you don't do nothing with it. You don't have that in you to do what we are do. They know who we are. That's why I say, no, we do not want to give them land. We don't want to have them casinos. We don't want to have them money. No, because we have documented history on what we would do with money and what we would do with land. Now, when you say you're trying to erase Native American history, let's talk about the history real quick. And why I say a lot of you Native American tribes who get money right now owe Black Americans. Now, the Cherokee Nation enslaved Black people prior to the Civil War. And after emancipation, some Black people were known as Cherokee freedmen. Okay, freedmen. And they were granted citizenship. And so the Cherokee freedmen fought a long legal battle. And the families won their tribal rights in 2017. Now, I say the Choctaw Nation. They also enslaved Black Americans, which they owe reparations to. After the Civil War, the Treaty of 1866, where the U.S. required the tribe to free enslaved individuals and grant them citizenship, creating the Choctaw Freedmen. Okay, so you have the Cherokees and the Choctaw. Black people was in that. The Chickasaw Nation. They enslaved Africans, but initially resisted giving freedmen tribal citizenship after the Civil War. The Chickasaw freedmen were left stateless for decades and still face exclusionary policies today. Okay, so that's the Chickasaw. The Creek or Muskogee Nation. They had a large Black population, including both enslaved and free black Creeks. It said the Creek freedmen was granted tribal citizenship in 1866, but many were later disenfranchised. Okay? Now, the Seminole Nation, they had perhaps the most unique and integrated relationships. They had black Seminoles. We know about them. They say were both allies and members, as they of the tribe, and often escaping from slavery and living freely among the Seminoles. Now, say some black Seminoles fought alongside native Seminoles in the wars, and the U.S. government, against the U.S. government. So their descendants live today in Oklahoma, Texas, and Mexico. So the descendants of the Seminoles, the black Seminoles, is in my state, Mexico, and Oklahoma, which makes sense because that's what they originally went. Now, smaller, less documented, let's say tribes. Let's say the Lumbee in North Carolina, let's say a mixed heritage tribe, often includes people of African descent. They say Saponi and Catawba, let's say Eastern tribes. Let's say with historical blending among African, Native, and European peoples. And the Nanticoke, let's say families have mixed black and Native ancestry dating back to colonial times. So how is black Americans, again, erasing Native history? They're not erasing anything. Black Americans were in Native American tribes. Maybe if you would do just a little bit of research, you'll find that out. So when you hear black Americans say, hey, we were Native Americans, that's true. That's true. A lot of them were in the Native American tribes. A lot of in the tribes enslaved. So when it comes, ma'am, watch your mouth, because we need to start looking at getting some of them reparations from y'all. Matter of fact, we need to start telling the government, hey, they owe reparations. So them checks you already cutting them, go ahead and start sliding some of them checks this way for reparations, because they had us enslaved too. You Native Americans owe. See what happens when you start opening your mouth? Because then now we could start focusing on you. Because yes, we're going to focus on them folks, but we're going to focus on you too, because you had us enslaved in this land too. Stop getting in black folk business. Whatever we got going on with Africans, that's our business. Whatever we talking about with Caribbeans or Afro-Latinos, whatever, that's a black conversation. See your way out of it. But now, since you want to open your mouth, we got to start focusing on y'all. Why aren't black Americans in the tribes today? Because why? Because you practice anti-black racism. That's why. You don't want black Americans to get their just due. That money y'all getting, that land and all that y'all have, that's some of black Americans' land. That money belongs to them too, and they need to get their money. They need to get their citizen, their tribal membership the way it should be, because they are descendants of those tribes. I tell people all the time, sometimes just keep yourself out of people's business, and you won't even get the smoke like that. But those Native Americans owe, and you need to tell them you owe. And yes, black Americans, some of us are Native American. Not all of us are Native Americans. So don't say, oh, she feels, no. Some of us were Native Americans, and some of us are not. I didn't trace none of my lineage to no Native American. I didn't. So I can't say that. And a lot of people can't say that, but there are some who can. And for those who can, they should be getting every bit of the rights and privileges that Native Americans get, because they deserve that too. So you can be a black American and a Native American at the same time. Period. Because black Americans need to collect from everybody that owe us. Everybody. The debt is due. And we need to be an aggressive collector of that debt. Stay out of black folks' business. That's your problem. We're not worried about no ally. Trust me, we got enough allies right in the black community. It's 43 million black Americans. That's enough people to ally, don't you think? Even some people in the community don't want to ally or work with each other. Listen, we are all we need, ma'am. We don't need you. We got it. Where have you been all these years when we've been fighting for freedom? You ain't been nowhere. We are good. Trust me, we are good. Stay in your place. And go and run us our reparations checks while you're at it. Run us our checks. We need that. Have our people enslaved, and then the U.S. government had to go tell you, hey, man, Them people free. Let them go. They had to go tell you that. Oh yeah, you owe reparations. You sure do. Y'all get reparations and mess it off. We get reparations. We'll build an empire, and they know that. That's why they want us to have it.